What is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. It is Monday night once again. It is June the 25th, 2018, and Monday Night Raw came to us from the sun-kissed city of San Diego, California. And unfortunately, it was one of the most boring nights of my entire life, and we are going to tell you why right here and right now as we bring the hammer down on Monday Night Raw on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Radio, and Podbean, baby. The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's do it, because it's time to bring the hammer down.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
All right, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Nick Nightmare. Along with me, as always, is my trusty team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the wrestling god of thunder, and the official sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. My little buddy, my trusty and most loyal companion. I would never sound the same without him. He is Blue the Snowball Microphone, the world heavyweight champion of all the microphones in all of the universe. Very big deal. Just like this show tonight. We're going to kick things off. What I want to do tonight is I'm going to read you off a list. We're going to read you a list of segments, okay? These segments go in no particular order, but I'm going to read them off to you as follows. Kurt Angle has an announcement that is interrupted by Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley, which is then interrupted by the Revival. Lashley and Reigns versus the Revival is the resulting match. We have the B-Team do a great impersonation of the Deleters of Worlds, right? We had Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins in an Intercontinental title match. We had the Riot Squad, members of the Riot Squad, taking on Sasha Banks and Bayley. We had Mojo Rawley taking on Hey Ho No Way Ho Hey No Way Jose. If you didn't know what that was all about, if it's your first time watching. We had a tag team match featuring Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, the Constable, Baron Corbin, and the Monster in the Bank, Braun Strowman. This is a list that I have read to you that you would assume I'm talking about tonight's show, would you not? But the problem is what I just read to you was last week's show. That was the exact lineup from last week's show. It is exactly what we got tonight. Only tonight was made infinitely worse by what they did with Alexa Bliss, as opposed to what we saw last week with Alexa Bliss. What the fuck is Mickie James doing back with Alexa Bliss? Where has she been over the last 2-3 weeks? Why are we going back to this Mean Girls bullshit so that she could pick on Nia Jax? Nobody wanted to see that the first time. We don't want to see it again. Nia Jax comes out all smiley and happy with Natalya. Natalya taking up for her best friend now that she's suspended for the next 30 days. This is the best you got. You got the Riot Squad now in a 6-woman match this week. You add Ember Moon to the mix so that she could just get lost in the shuffle. There's no reason for her to be involved. And now you finally pull the trigger on Sasha and Bayley. Sasha and Bayley brawled last week after their match, which involved losing to the Riot Squad, which is what happened again tonight. And Bayley snaps tonight, right? Bayley snaps. She goes absolutely nuts in the one part of tonight that actually caught my interest. Even though it's a long time coming and it's a little too late, it was the most interesting part of tonight only because it finally happened. Bayley snapped, but it still leaves you in a very confused state because you don't know who's really the bad guy here. Is Bayley turning heel? Sasha turned heel last week. And then Kurt Angle wants to come out and put them in a match after Sasha Banks walked away and said she wanted nothing to do with Bayley anymore. He forces them into a match. Then Bayley goes and snaps, like we said. And then Kurt Angle wants to give her counseling. He's punishing Bayley for her actions tonight by giving her counseling. Bayley finally grows some balls. Finally does what everybody wants to see her do. Finally shows a little oomph. Finally shows that she has a heartbeat and that she cares and that she can't take this being in Sasha Banks' shadow bullshit anymore. That she's really the better of the two. And it was great. But what does it mean now? And then Kurt Angle, oh, you've disrespected the women's revolution. How? You forced them into a team which was asinine to begin with. He says Bayley and Sasha are too important to Monday Night Raw to not get along. How does that statement even make sense? Wrestlers need enemies. How does their importance to Raw have anything to do with them feuding with each other? If anything, that makes their value and importance to Raw 10 times bigger. Because now we want to see this. I don't understand tonight's show. I didn't understand it when I saw it the first time last week. The only two differences from this week to last week, aside from the Alexa Bliss segment and that ridiculous match that we didn't need between Alexa Bliss and Natalya, is instead of seeing the Deleters of Worlds squash Heath Slater and Rhino like we saw last week, we got to see Curtis Axel beat Matt Hardy in about 15 seconds because Matt Hardy slipped on an invisible fucking banana peel in the ring. Matt Hardy, a guy that's won TLC matches, he's been in some of the most dangerous matchups of all time, the Final Deletion, shooting people with fireworks, doing all kinds of crazy shit, taking all kinds of crazy bumps. He can't kick out by the count of 3 from slipping on the floor. And you're okay with that. I don't mind them building up Curtis Axel and the B team, but at least give these guys a 10-minute match. Make Axel earn it. Make him look like a serious competitor. What's with this bullshit joke nonsense? This comedy booking is what ruined the tag team division in the first place. Breezango, hello? Anybody remember that shit? Dressing up as grandmas? The old day with Gallows and Anderson. Comedy and tag team wrestling does not need to be a thing. Comedy in any wrestling does not need to be a thing, especially when it's supposed to be taken seriously. But no, instead we get this ridiculous way to further a feud that actually is garnering interest based off of these guys working off of each other doing impersonations, and Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt celebrating it and championing it and giving them a round of applause for their performance last week. It was wonderful, yes, and I was getting into it and I get it. And then you have this fucking bullshit match. And it just takes away from the whole thing. Who fucking wrote this? Whoever wrote that segment for this should be fired. You gave this like, what, 2 minutes tops? It took longer for everybody to come out than for the match to even take place. Matt Hardy looked like an idiot tonight. One of your biggest stars on the roster, you're making them look like assholes. Unbelievable. And instead of the 2 useless singles matches we had last week, we had to see Jinder Mahal last week versus Chad Gable. We got to see Jinder Mahal this week too. But this week's use of Jinder Mahal was by far my favorite use of Jinder Mahal ever. We'll get to that in a minute. But instead of Jinder and Gable, we had Bobby Roode versus Kurt Hawkins. We got the return of the Authors of Pain. Holy shit, they're alive! They're alive and they're actually on Monday Night Raw. They have a backstage confrontation with Titus Worldwide. These guys came back to be given a feud with Titus Worldwide. Now, initially, I'm okay with this because obviously the Authors of Pain are going to destroy Titus Worldwide. It's going to do nothing for them but make them look exactly like the catering people that they are. They do not deserve to be anything more than that. Titus is awful. Apollo needs to break away from that and get some attitude. And Dana Brooke, there's just no help for. We're not even going to go there. So the Authors of Pain are going to be wasted in this feud. But I'd rather have seen that than have to see them come out tonight and go up against the Flying Graysons. You got two jackasses dressed up like the fucking elf on the shelf. Rick and Rex Gibson. Anybody whose last name is Gibson that's a wrestling fan that watched Monday Night Raw tonight immediately is filing for a name change tomorrow. You got the guy that won the UK tournament that's getting a shot at Pete Dunne. That guy's name is Gibson. You think he's happy about the two idiots that were on fucking Monday Night Raw tonight having his last name? They couldn't have come up with something else? Rick and Rex Gibson. Look like fucking Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. Dressed up in full Robin fucking gear without the mask. Two fucking idiot jerk-offs. Squashed again by the Authors of Pain. Authors of Pain start to really lay into them for Titus and Apollo to come out and try to make the save. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? That segment should have been versus Titus Worldwide, and it should have ended the same exact way, and we should be moving forward from this. Titus Worldwide is a pit stop, not something to build on. Although it is far better than those two fucking retards we had in the ring tonight. I'm sure they're great guys. But really, did you just look at yourselves before you walked out there? Did they purposely make you dress like idiots? I hope you got a good payday for tonight. All the talent they have in the back, they had to bring out these two idiots for the Authors of Pain to squash. A whole entire tag team division of nobodies. You couldn't have had Slater and Rhino come out and job out again? We had to see these two idiots in fucking pajamas. Give me a break. This show made no sense from start to finish. This was another show that was built around pushing the Roman agenda from start to finish. Nobody gives a shit about that either. I really wish they would stop inserting Roman Reigns into Seth Rollins' business. I don't give a shit about their friendship anymore. I don't think Seth Rollins gives a shit about their friendship anymore. Vince will stop at nothing to try to get the rub from Seth Rollins off and onto his big dog. It's not working. This whole show opens up with fucking Angle and Corbin standing out there. They're going to address the rumors with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar supposedly is pulling out of his match at Survivor Series, at SummerSlam. What? Obviously, they are just using this to fuel the fire and to try to get the fans to be against Brock Lesnar because he's going to be at SummerSlam. There's been all kinds of plans saying that that is the case. I have not seen anything to truly state otherwise. You got Paul Heyman on social media hyping up Bobby Lashley. What? And in all fairness, Bobby Lashley tonight on the microphone was not that bad. The problem still lies in the fact the man don't move his fucking eyes. He looks like a goddamn stone figure speaking. His whole upper part of his face, from his nose up above his head, just don't move. And the emotion doesn't match the reaction on the man's face. He can be getting mad, and he's just going to look at you like this. He could be really sad, and he's just going to look at you like this. I'm probably relaying more emotion because I have natural charisma and emotion, so when I'm trying to portray sadness, you'll see sadness in my eyes. You're going to see the anger. You're going to see the frustration in me when I have to tear apart this fucking show and bring this hammer down. Because of guys like Boring Trashley who want to stand there looking like a deer in headlights with his eyeballs opened up like two big fucking pool cue balls and trying to deliver these intense lines, which at points were overly scripted. But I thought if the man maybe would have blinked or flexed his eye, something, be mad. You know what I mean? Don't just stand there and talk to Roman Reigns, blah, 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 whatever dog shit he was saying. Get mad. If you're mad, get mad. Look at me. I'm mad now. Look, I'm fucking mad. This isn't mad. This is mad. Bobby Lashley was trying to get intense, and I was almost kind of getting into it, but he just wouldn't show any fucking humanity. Even Roman wasn't that bad on the mic, but the shit they got the guy saying, talking shit about Brock Lesnar, trying to claim he's the uncrowned Universal Champion. Bobby Lashley saying shit that all of us here on the YWC say. Oh, you've had 3 years of chances, and all you've proven is that you can lose to Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns is shooting back. Oh, what'd you do? You left 10 years ago and you went to MMA? How'd that work out for you? Everybody's taking shots at each other, and it would have been really good if it was a little less scripted, and like I said, there was life in Bobby Lashley's face, and literally anybody other than Roman Reigns in that scenario probably would have garnered a much better reaction. If you would have ran that segment with Sami Zayn instead of bringing out 3 goons dressed up as ladies and ridiculous Instagram segments, then that whole thing would have actually had some merit to it. We would have wanted to see that. Would have been intense. But no. This is what we get. A repeat from last week, and then the Revival want to come out saying, oh, well, we took you guys for granted last week. That's not going to be the case this week. And then we get a way drawn out, too long of a match that ends in a finish that we saw about 6 times last week across a bunch of different matches, even including SmackDown Live. The WWE's got a thing right now for the roll-up in the tights. It's like we're seeing it once, twice, 3 times a night, all week long. And it just proves just how me reading those segments from last week and how it echoes this week's show. It just proves the laziness in this staff that is being paid to create compelling television, to take characters and build upon them and make stories that make sense. Give us matches that feel big. Give us matches that matter. Give us matches that, at the very least, that we could ask for, just make it make sense. Nothing that is happening on Raw is making sense, because now all of these guys are essentially fighting over something that's not even available anymore. This supposed title shot being taken away at SummerSlam leaves this multi-man match now not happening at Extreme Rules. So what are we even fighting for? Honestly, I wanted to like this. But when you couple in the fact that it's exactly what we saw last week, regardless of the fact that it came off a little bit better than last week's segment, I want new. I want different. I want progression. Consistency. Not just repeat. Well, it didn't hit last week. Let's just try to do it again this week. No. No. Oh, we'll just change it up a little bit. No. That's not what you're getting paid for. Fucking ridiculous. Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt cut a great promo. Come out to the ring. The B team cut one in response. Then we have the one-on-one with Hardy and Axel, where Axel wins after the fucking imaginary slip, or the real-life slip on an imaginary object, or on the ropes, or whatever it was. It happened so fast, I don't even really know how he ended up losing this match. It was absolutely fucking ridiculous. But the B team's win streak continues. Fantastic. We talked about the Authors of Pain turning up finally on Raw backstage, acting like the Riot Squad, pushing around some guy, some crew member, and then you got Titus O'Neil. Hey, man, we respect the crew around here, Mr. Big Man. I know you guys are new around here, but we love everybody, and we're all friends. Enough with that. Get out of here with that. The Authors of Pain should have laid them out right there in the back. There should have been no match. There should have been nothing like that. They should have just absolutely destroyed them, and that would have been the end of it. They would have been fine with that. We didn't need the match with the jerk-offs. While we're talking about jerk-offs like Rich and Rex fucking Gibson, the Elves on a Shelf tag team, new debut tag team, we had fucking No Way Jose and the Conga Morons that I love so much. Here we go. This is for you guys. Oh! Now, I'll give them a little bit of credit here because they did schedule a match that was exactly what we got last week, but they ended up not having the match. But what I'm not going to give them credit on is giving Mojo Rawley the microphone for more than 30 seconds. He's boring as shit. His delivery is not menacing. It's not creepy. It's not scary. It's just lame. He wants to walk around and start picking on the conga morons. And I was like, oh, just beat them up. Just beat them up. Eliminate them all. Toss them in the ring. Toss them all around. You know, try to get in Jose's head that way. But no way, Jose. Do you know what we got instead of that? Just Mojo Bobo Rowley just talking and talking and talking and picking on some guy named Todd dressed in a fucking hamburger outfit. Because they're the Hosebuds. And that's it. What else can I tell you about it? That segment ended. Mojo Rawley walks away after getting in a cheap shot on No Way Jose. And now we're going to have to see this shit again. Fucking great. Repeat. They're setting up the repeat for next week. We're going to see it again. Who gives a shit about either one of these guys? Terrible. Take away the fucking dancing idiots and leave Jose to be the one-man party that he's supposed to be, I might get a little bit interested. But up until then, I really don't care. I think I might have skipped ahead a little bit, you guys. Anyway, nobody gave a shit about most of what's happened tonight. Especially when you want to take into account the main event, or the second main event, the tag team matchup between Finn Balor and Baron Corbin as a team versus Braun Strowman and Kevin Owens. Now, my problem here is that this all happened because Braun comes in and feels bad, right? He feels bad about what he did to Kevin Owens. Braun Strowman is feeling remorse for something he's done to another human being. That's not wrong to you? That doesn't feel off? Why the fuck does he care? It doesn't make any sense. And then he requests a match to have Owens as his partner. He wants to be friends now. After everything he did to Kevin Owens tried to be his friend and maybe he was too hard on him and he feels bad. Bullshit! It's Braun Strowman. He's not supposed to feel anything. And then he puts them up again. Oh, well, let's just take these two guys. You can put us up against anybody. These two schmucks are standing here. Finn Balor's just standing here smiling. This idiot's dressed up like a waiter. Let's just fucking fight them. And Kurt Angle's just like, all right, fine. It's what we did last week, but we'll do it again. We'll just switch up some teams. What? Am I not supposed to see this? Do you think I'm stupid, WWE? Do you think the universe forgot what we saw just 7 fucking days ago? Just because you mix the competitors doesn't make it any different. This is what the problem is with not having a Universal Champion around. Because we keep getting ridiculous matchups like this, featuring 4 men on the roster that should be in the hunt for a title. But instead they're just playing fucking round robin. Unacceptable. Don't understand why Alexa Bliss and Mickie James are back together, like we said. A long, boring, over-scripted promo, all for Natty to come out and end up tapping out the champ. I say it all the time on this show, so you already know what's coming. I hate when a champion is beaten on national television for no fucking reason. Can you give me one reason why Natalya had to win this match? You're trying to sell the world on a match with Alexa Bliss and Ronda Rousey. There is no way in hell that anybody right now believes in Alexa Bliss at all. Alexa Bliss doesn't stand a chance against a legitimate athlete and a legitimate badass female like Ronda Rousey, right? So why wouldn't you want to build Alexa Bliss, who you just gave the championship to, over a slew of competitors that were more deserving? Why wouldn't you want to build her up in a better light? Why wouldn't you want to make her look like a dominant champion? Or at least make her look like she's using her brain like a crafty heel would do? No, she's going to go in there. She's going to have a useless Mickie James for no reason. You're going to have Nia Jax out there getting involved in this one-on-one match for no reason. And then you're going to have Alexa Bliss tap out before Natty even really synced in on the sharpshooter. And while we're on that subject, Natty's been nursing a knee injury. Sometimes it's the right knee, sometimes it's the left knee, but this girl was getting messed up all into the lead into Money in the Bank. She competed in Money in the Bank, but she supposedly hurt her knee, and now she's walking out fine. Fine, both legs are fine, nothing's taped up, no knee brace on, and she's sinking in deep on a sharpshooter on the champ, getting the champ to tap out in about 3.5 seconds. You couldn't have at least let Alexa try to look a little bit like she was trying to escape? It's like, oh my god, I'm in this move, I gotta get out. No, try not to lose. Try to get out of it before you so easily tap out. You're the fucking champion. Doesn't matter the title's not on the line. Drama. Build. Suspense. I don't care what move it is. Even if Bret Hart was sinking it in on Alexa Bliss in the middle of the ring, right now he's not in his prime, so you could definitely sell this. But even then, she's got to perform. You got to show the pain in your face. Look at the camera. Reach. Scream. Try to get to the rope. Something. Nothing. We get just tap out, and now we move along. Natalya gets a win that's going to do nothing for her. It's not going to give her any momentum. This is just the first of 3 more weeks of the same exact segment. Expect it to happen over and over again. Natalya is going to be involved with Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss until Ronda comes back and gets her vengeance and takes the Women's Championship from Alexa Bliss, most likely. And until that happens, I'm pretty much done with the women's division on Monday Night Raw, outside of Sasha and Bayley. But knowing Monday Night Raw will show up next week, and Kurt will put them in a tag match. No, you guys are friends. You're in therapy now. You've got to get along. Absolute garbage. The Riot Squad, backstage, breaks a camera. That's riotous, I guess. Girl Braun Strowman, Sarah Logan, she's pushing equipment boxes. I guess that's rioting. Jinder Mahal having his pictures taken for some reason. The girls show up, they break the camera, and he's all Shanti, Shanti. 30 seconds of my life that I would have much rather been doing something else. You didn't have a minute or two to show the very beautiful Vader video promotional package to honor the man's life on a Monday Night Raw, a show that he was part of in its early days. You couldn't have shown that. We had to see Jinder Mahal standing back there saying Shanti about 12 fucking times. We had to see Ruby Riott and friends walking around in the back, Little Miss Trenchmouth with her blue fucking tongue hanging out. I got a little suggestion for you. You want your tongue to stop being blue? Stop blowing Smurfs. How about that? Useless to get into the 6-woman tag, which we already kind of talked about. The Riot Squad, as a 3-girl Riot Squad, taking on Ember Moon, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. All for nothing. All for Sasha Banks and Bayley to brawl in the end, just like we saw last week. And we have a little bit of tension growing. We got a little bit of badassery out of Bayley. And all she gets for her efforts, and finally standing up for herself and doing whatever it is they're doing with this Bayley character, is therapy sessions. I wonder if he's going to send her to the same fucking counselor that they sent Kane and Daniel Bryan to. Dr. What's his name? I forget his name off the top of my head right now. That's because of Monday Night Raw. They got my fucking head all on a swivel and all on a screw that I couldn't even think of anything to put up on the board tonight. So I left up our little Vader card, since they didn't feel it necessary to show their respect to Vader during the show. Sure, they put the in memory at the beginning, but you put together a beautiful promo. Just because it's on your YouTube channel or it's on WWE.com don't mean you don't show it during the broadcast. You've done it in the past with everybody else. Why you didn't have a minute for that? But we had to see Jinder Mahal. We had to have 10 minutes of Alexa Bliss and Mickie James standing there staring at each other. No. Unacceptable, you guys. This was a very unacceptable show. The match at the end of the night. Strowman, Owens, Corbin, Balor. I keep saying that because I'm forgetting about the Intercontinental Championship match being the end of the show. But the tag team matchup with Strowman, Owens, Corbin, and Balor, like we said, this was nothing. There was absolutely nothing to this. Strowman and Owens did make a good tag team. They did have some nice chemistry. They did seem to work very well together in the ring. They made it a point to keep hammering that home on the commentary team, but it was evident that that was happening. This match ended because Baron Corbin and Finn Balor ended up brawling with each other all the way up the ramp and get counted out. Okay, now, follow me on this. Braun Strowman felt bad, right? He wants to be friends with Kevin Owens, and they are victorious tonight, and Kevin Owens is all happy. He's like, yeah, see, I told you, we could be teammates. This is awesome. Kevin Owens extends his hand in friendship after he, gives Braun a couple of those, like, yeah, bro, like, he chops him in the chest a little bit. Nothing really aggressive. He was being celebratory, and then he offers his hand in friendship, and Braun Strowman standing there, like, grunting, like he's gonna fucking eat Kevin Owens. That's exactly what Kevin Owens was afraid of at the beginning of this night, so Kevin Owens takes off. Braun Strowman starts to give chase. They follow this thing all the way into the back. Kevin Owens hides in the coach's office. Braun Strowman streams right past him. Kevin Owens thinks he's safe. He leaves the arena. He goes to get his car, but the car attendant tells him he don't have his keys. And he's like, why? And he said, because that guy has them. And then they cut to Braun Strowman, who's standing there with Kevin Owens' keys. And Kevin Owens is standing there in a shock. And Braun Strowman's like, here's your keys. There's your car. And he turns around, and Braun Strowman flipped Kevin Owens' car completely upside down. It's standing there, all smoking, and as great as this whole thing is, as Braun Strowman laughs, walking his way back into the arena, leaving Kevin Owens with no way to get out of town, I'm wondering why. Why? It doesn't make any sense for him to do anything that he did tonight. It just makes no sense. The way he came off was very genuine, like Kurt Angle said. So if it was truly just a plan to get Kevin Owens, or to do something to Kevin Owens before the end of the night, this whole thing just seems kind of ass backwards, doesn't it? Or maybe it's just me. I did not understand why this took place. Are they building towards Kevin Owens versus Braun Strowman at some point? Why would they do that with him having the Money in the Bank briefcase? Like I said, this is what you get when we don't have a champion to build a show around. They're doing the best they can, I guess, in their mind anyway, to build it around whoever's holding the Money in the Bank briefcase as the top guy on the show, but it's not working. Then you have the actual main event of the evening, the Intercontinental Championship title match, Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler, and I thought this was going to be better than it was. Drew McIntyre, about a third of the way through this match, gets ejected for no reason. Now, yes, he did hit Seth Rollins, but you need to take into account the referee didn't see shit. The referee didn't see anything happen. The referee's back was to it the whole time, and then the referee turns around and just throws out Drew McIntyre for seemingly just standing there, because the ref didn't see him do a goddamn thing. So that didn't make any sense. And I was alright with it only because I expected now we were going to see probably Seth Rollins win the title back, and maybe we were actually going to get into this match and let them really start to do what they can do. But that's not really so much what happened. Towards the end of this match, Drew McIntyre would come out again, even though he would be sent away from ringside, get involved in the match, end up costing Seth Rollins the match. Well, he wins the match by disqualification. He cost him the title. All for Roman to come out again and save Seth Rollins. Why? You know what we're going to see next week? Reigns and Rollins versus McIntyre and Ziggler? Because they're just going to probably keep trying to get you guys to get cheers for Roman by being with Seth. This is one of the main reasons why I don't want Dean Ambrose to come back to Monday Night Raw. And if you want to hear more about what I would do with Dean Ambrose, you could check the show that went up earlier today as we tell you how the WWE should book Dean Ambrose upon returning to WWE TV. And I think that they should really take note and maybe listen to that show and pay attention. Because if we're going to keep getting shows like this, they need all the help they can get. They need average guys like me. They need average fans like you to start flooding the damn company with complaints. Start making your voices heard. And maybe they will start to take things seriously. They're sitting there jerking off in their cash flow. You know what I mean? They're sitting there in their Scrooge McDuck fucking money bin, having a grand old time, the whole McMahon family, counting all the fucking coin and golds and diamonds they got in there. They're not paying attention to what got them there. And they're letting it flounder in the hands of a bunch of fucking amateurs. A bunch of people that have no idea what wrestling is and would much rather be writing episodes of fucking Will and Grace. With people that have tried and failed at their hand at comedy on the nationwide scale of television and sitcoms and shit like that. Failed people that weren't funny enough to get on the staff for Family Guy or South Park. B-player fucking writers. You want to talk about B-plus players? Your whole fucking writing staff is C+, maybe even D. When you're giving me the exact same show 2 weeks in a row with minor tweaks, that's not being creative. That's not a creative team coming up with TV. That's them taking the script from last week, shaking it up a bit, and throwing it at Vince, and he goes, yeah, that's good, let's do that. Nobody's standing there going, hey, didn't we do this last week? You know, nobody on the rosters got balls enough to say anything because look at what happened to Big Cass. Everybody's looking at that and going, well, now we can't say anything. Sure you can. You can say anything you want. Be prepared to deal with the consequences. And don't disobey the direct order. That's all you need to do. Still make your voices heard. Just like we need to make our voices heard. That's why I started this channel, so I could be one of the many that are on here, voicing my opinion, telling them that I can see through the bullshit that you're giving me, and that this is trash. What happened to the days when you cared about wrestling? What happened to the days when WrestleMania used to really be WrestleMania? Monday Night Raw is a chore, week after week after week. SmackDown Live is hit or miss. You can't depend on anything outside of NXT to truly give you, as a WWE fan, that feeling that you're looking for. And why they're not looking at that as a model and using it and acknowledging the fact that this is the way and the future of the business, we'll never understand. And until they do that, we're going to keep getting shit like this that we got tonight. A script that I just want to toss in the fucking trash. Because that's where it belongs. Set it on fire and burn it up so that we never have to see this show again. An absolute failure tonight on Monday Night Raw. A repeat episode. I guess after thousands and thousands of episodes, right? All these fucking weeks to run TV, you gotta hit a repeat at some point. That was tonight. And it was literally from last week's show. I don't know what else I can tell you guys about tonight. I let it all hang out. I let the hammer fly. Because they deserve it. On a night like tonight, it's one of the reasons why we started this whole entire channel. This whole journey. Because I need to get it out. You know, if I didn't have this channel, I didn't have you guys, I'd be sitting on my couch just steaming with all these thoughts. To get it out there, make it heard, knowing that you guys are out there listening, makes it all worthwhile. And I want to thank you guys for being with me once again for another edition of our Monday Night Raw review. If you are not already a member of the Sledgehammer Club and you are still with us at 40 minutes deep on this night, and this was your first foray into Sledgehammer TV and what we do here on this channel, hit that motherfucking subscribe button right now as we are on the march to 1K. We are trying to hit 1,000 before SummerSlam, and then once we do, it's 100,000 or bust, so we can be amongst the many that bring you the best in professional wrestling coverage right here on YouTube.com. If you're listening to us on iTunes, Podbean, or Stitcher Radio, make sure you get your eyes to Sledgehammer TV, which is at youtube.com. It is the home base for all things Sledgehammer Wrestling Show related. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. At Nick Nightmare is the handle. Check out the Facebook fan page, facebook.com, The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, all one word. Thank you for supporting the show each and every way you can. One of the best ways you can do that is to take your little imaginary sledgehammers at home, or if you have an actual one like this one, and bash that thumbs up so that everybody knows that you enjoyed the show. I know you enjoyed the show and you agreed with everything I have to say, and that you will be back for more. So all you need to do, hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you are not already part of the Sledgehammer Club, and then share this video with each and every one of your wrestling friends all over the wrestling world so that they can become a part of the Sledgehammer Club as well, and bring your thoughts and discussion to the table in that comment section down below. Let me know what you think about tonight's repeat episode of Raw. Where do you want to see WWE go? What do you want to see me talk about? Maybe we can take some show requests, some topics. Maybe you want to see me review a classic pay-per-view of some sort. Throw some ideas at me so that we can keep bringing you more and more content for the world of professional wrestling right here on YouTube. My name, my friends, is Nick Nightmare. With me, as always, is Thor, the wrestling god of thunder, the official sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. My little buddy, the world heavyweight champion of all the microphones in all the world, Blue the Snowball. Thank you guys once again for checking out the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw review. Don't forget to check out everything else we put up on the channel. Two Vader tributes, because I love the guys so much. We have that on the channel. Vince McMahon cock-blocking Ring of Honor, keeping them out of the bowels of Madison Square Garden. We talked about the whole Big Cass situation, and as I mentioned earlier, how Dean Ambrose should be brought back to WWE TV, plus Money in the Bank, NXT TakeOver, all the reviews and previews your heart desires, plus the very best in House of Glory coverage in all of YouTube. Don't forget to check it all out. Like, share, and subscribe. That is going to do it, and we are out of here. And we will see you tomorrow night for SmackDown Live right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Have a good night, guys.